The night was colder than usual, the kind of night where silence pressed against the city like a heavy blanket. In a dimly lit warehouse on the outskirts of town, a powerful CEO named Claire Donovan sat tied to a chair. She was terrified but tried not to show it. Claire had built her billion-dollar empire by being fearless, but right now, her heart pounded in helplessness. A group of masked men circled her, demanding ransom. What she didn't know was that fate was about to send help in the most unexpected form. Across the city, Ethan Cole, a single dad who worked 2 jobs to provide for his young daughter, tucked her into bed. He kissed her forehead gently. Nobody in the neighborhood knew Ethan's secret. He wasn't just any father. He had powers, super strength, heightened senses, and speed. But he kept them hidden, afraid that exposing himself might put his daughter in danger. Tonight, though, he heard something, a faint cry for help. His super hearing picked up Claire's desperate whisper from miles away. At first, he hesitated. Stepping in could risk everything. But then he thought of his daughter. What kind of man would I be if I stayed silent while someone's life hung in the balance? Within minutes, Ethan was at the warehouse. He slipped inside quietly, his heart steady but determined. He saw the CEO tied up, fear etched in her eyes, and the men standing guard with weapons. For most people, it would have been suicide. For Ethan, it was instinct. In a blur of motion, he disarmed the first thug, sending his weapon skidding across the floor. Another swung at him, but Ethan caught the punch midair, twisting the man's arm just enough to stop him without breaking it. One by one, he neutralized the gang, fast, precise, but merciful. His goal wasn't to hurt them, it was to stop them. Claire watched in disbelief. She had seen powerful men all her life, board members, politicians, rivals, but never like this. Ethan didn't fight for glory. He fought with compassion, even pausing to shield one of the kidnappers from falling debris when the chaos knocked down a beam. Finally, silence filled the room. Ethan untied her, and for the first time, their eyes met. She expected to see arrogance, but instead, she found warmth. "Are you okay?" he asked softly, his voice carrying both strength and gentleness. Claire nodded, though her throat tightened. You saved me. Who are you?" He hesitated, then gave a small smile. "Just a dad trying to do the right thing." Those words hit her harder than anything. A billionaire CEO, used to power and wealth, was suddenly humbled by the purity of a man's heart. As he led her out, Claire stumbled, her heel catching on the cracked pavement. Without thinking, Ethan caught her in his arms. For a second, time froze. She felt safe, safer than she had in years. Later, when the police arrived, Ethan slipped away quietly. He didn't want recognition. He only wanted to be home before his daughter woke up. But Claire couldn't stop thinking about him. The next day, she tracked him down, not through force, but through gratitude. She arrived at his small home, where his daughter was laughing as he packed her lunch. Seeing the way he cared for her child melted Claire's heart even more than the rescue had. "You didn't just save me," she told him. "You reminded me what real strength looks like." For Ethan, it was never about impressing anyone. But in that moment, Claire realized she wasn't just looking at a hero, she was looking at a man who understood love, sacrifice, and humanity at its core. And against all odds, the CEO who had everything found herself falling for the single dad who had given up everything, except his kindness. Sometimes, true power isn't about money, fame, or even superhuman strength. It's about the courage to do the right thing, the heart to care for others, and the humility to ask for nothing in return. And when kindness leads, love always follows. The weeks that followed felt surreal for Claire. She had been back in her office, surrounded by polished glass walls and marble floors, yet her mind often drifted back to that warehouse, and the man who had walked away without asking for anything. Ethan tried to return to his normal life. School runs, long shifts, grocery shopping, he wanted nothing more than to stay invisible. But his daughter noticed the lightness in his smile lately, as though carrying a secret he couldn't quite put down. One evening, a knock at the door startled him. Standing there was Claire, this time not the powerful CEO in a designer suit, but a woman holding a small box of homemade cookies. Her voice was softer than he remembered. "I didn't know how else to thank you. So I baked." He chuckled, almost embarrassed. A billionaire CEO baking? That's a first. "Maybe saving lives changes people," she replied, meeting his gaze. From that night on, she began visiting often. Sometimes with dinner, sometimes with books for his daughter, sometimes with nothing but conversation. The three of them shared laughter around the kitchen table, a simple life far removed from her empire of skyscrapers. Claire found herself drawn not to Ethan's powers, but to his humility, to the way he listened, the way he loved quietly, without expecting anything back. And for Ethan, every time she leaned in to help his daughter with homework or laughed at one of his clumsy jokes, he felt a warmth he hadn't allowed himself in years. He had rescued her once, but without realizing it, she was rescuing him too, from loneliness, from self-doubt, from the belief that he wasn't worthy of something greater.